Lords and ladies, what is going on? BN is back again today for going to be probably a juicy but objectively pointed out video about where Server 6 is, what has happened so far, why a bunch of players are leaving, have left already. Again, we're in the middle of our kill event right now. It ends at reset, so just in a few hours. And there were some things that happened that just made the decision a lot easier for, I think, not only myself and others that are a part of Green or even SY, but I think just on the server itself for, you know what, maybe it is time to move on. And see what we can try to do in the future going forward. And I know there's still probably going to be a bunch of players that are going to stay. And as always, man, we definitely wish those people the best for sure. But let me dive into kind of the history of Server 6 because, man, I have really, with the holidays, I really wanted to cover a lot of videos for Server 6 on the progression, on relationships, on how you're developing a server, kingdom in this case. And I know, sadly, just kind of poor timing with the holidays. But let me dive in. So, at the start of Server 6, right, there were a couple standout alliances at the time, right? You had SY, there was BM, and then LOE, right? And for probably the first 2.5 weeks, right, SY, we were number one for a while, and it was BM up there. And then you had LOE that was like slowly climbing the ranks, right? And of course, we later find out, right, they had a bunch of spenders there in the alliance. And what just seemed to be more than even we did, right? And we had a decent amount of spenders in SY, decent amount in BM, and some of the other top 6 alliances as well. But they eventually shot up, and I think in the past couple days, maybe it was on the second or the third that they passed, and now they're the number one, right? But for the most part, it was a pretty good set of having a top alliance, the top 3 alliances all being from a different faction, right? I loved that. And then from like 4 on down, right, there was some decent separation, but there was 1 or 2 other alliances from Red that were kind of in that top 10, top 12 position that they had a little more than Green and Blue. But again, for the most part, there was really good spread. And I was thinking to myself, man, this is fantastic. There's a lot of potential right now in the kingdom. Man, our alliance's powers are growing really well. I had even talked to my buddy Ranu. Excuse me, Yore, even though I've spoken to Ranu as well. But Yore was telling me that comparing to Server 5, where he's at right now, which is kind of, constant war left and right, he was even telling me that Server 6 had to be progressing really well because there were a lot of tasks and chronicles and cities that we were just doing faster than what he had seen when comparing Server 5. So I think, again, Server 6 had so much potential, right? And then let me talk about where some of the red flags started popping up. So as you can see on the map, right, Red controls before, and we'll talk about some of these things later, but they, for the most part, have about the top half, right? And Green had kind of settled bottom left. It was us over here in Teppo, and then in Sonus you had Vita at the time, and then you kind of had the split between BM, LOTR, and God in the blue section that were in the bottom right. Right, you have Russ over here, kind of elite in the middle at Hayat, and then you have LOE here northwest at Drifta, and that was kind of the spread for the most part. And where we started seeing some of the red flags was initially here at Kronos, was when we were attempting the level 5 provincial capital, and some of you guys probably from a previous PvP video saw that while we were taking it, right after we broke the wall, I think there was like Ranu came in, and there was about 4, I want to say 4 to 5 others. So there was about 5 to 6 LOE players total that I remember. And I feel so bad I can't give you guys shout outs because I don't even remember all the names. But they came in for kind of like a raid on our siege attempt, right? To try and essentially, like anything, right? If you're doing that, you're trying to make your opponent waste AP so they fail being able to take the city. And it's just kind of like a demoralizing defeat, right? But they came in, they were attacking. We had told our players, look, don't focus them, just keep hitting the city. We did. We were able to take it. Then we counterattacked and were able to then counter and go up and hit them at their hive, their small hive, if you will. right? And it was a great day for taking the city, and then I also want to make the correction too as well that Russ did take the first level 5 provincial capital, or excuse me, LOE did in Filra, and I know there's a Chronicle achievement going on right now that if for some reason it gave Vita it, and I think it was number 13 or for whatever number it is, and let me double check because I know this is one part I definitely want to make sure I give a proper shout out to. Yeah, so Vita got this, but technically it was LOE who captured the first one. I just want to make that clear. And then after we counterattacked, right, for like the next 2 days we were just going back and forth with like PvP. It was super fun, right? Loved it. And then there was a pausing moment, and then we had, after that time, right, we had, this was around the time when I had started reaching out to all the leaders, and I had reached out to pretty much all the top 15 alliances at the time to talk about just building relationships. We had a red diplomatic rep at the time who was talking with LOE, I think, for the first couple days or first week, from my understanding, before that then transitioned. I don't believe there was another rep that we were talking to at that time, and then Vita was the other Green Alliance that we had someone else talking to them, and then there was like this little lull of time where we weren't. But outside of those two alliances, for the most part, I had reached out to all the other R6s from about the top 15 alliances for blue, red, and green, for overall on the boards, and I just wanted to reach out and just say hi, introduce myself, right? I'm really big on building relationships, and I think building rapport is a fantastic thing to do as well. I think it really shows a lot that, especially when you're reaching out and, you're just trying to start a conversation, right, and kind of get to know people. And from there, I was able to put together a kind of Discord group chat that we had with 7 of the top 9 alliances, right? And that's the top 3 from red, top 3 from blue, and green. And it was supposed to be somewhat of our council, right? Trying to include as many as we could, but not too many, right? You don't want too many chefs in the kitchen, if you will, or too many cooks in the kitchen. And so we did that, and it was really supposed to be kind of our opportunity to talk about things, and to figure things out when it came to, how did we want to go about managing, how did we want to go about doing certain things in the kingdom. And this was at the same time that KE was coming up, right? So now, and before I even dive right in, let me talk about one of the red flags that we noticed initially. And I'm going to show this over here. Let me scoot this. So this right here is Titan Tula. Now, for some of you guys who are familiar, right, Titan Tula is one of the kingdom-wide events that everyone participates in, right? Basically, you just show up and you plant your city next to this giant spider, and you all attack it, and you get rewards for just attacking, you get rewards for the most damage, you get rewards for the last hit on the boss and others. But it's free rewards for everyone in the kingdom. And I want to point something out here that some of you might notice right away. So there's 2 things I want to point out here. Is one, the thing that you probably see first is, well, some of you may see first, is that some of the LOE players, right, Rano in this picture, is, right, sending a march out to go and attack another player, right? And the second thing that you'll notice here is that almost everyone has a shield up, except for the LOE players. Or I should say the majority of LOE players. If that in and of itself is a big red flag for the kingdom, just overall. In the second screenshot, right, you'll see this was Ranu attacking Sakya, who was one of our SY players, right? Someone who was at Titan Tula, didn't have a shield on, and you can see here, right, that's the march line going to Sakya. And then you'll see in this screenshot, right, this is another LOE player sending a march out. Even though I know this is our marker that we had set up. But this is another LOE player that's going out and attacking again. And then this is another one of another player going out and attacking another green member that was coming in to relocate. Right, now, the relocation thing, I'm like 50-50 for, right? Here's just some screenshots of this was me getting attacked at Titan Tula. This was my buddy Wolfie getting attacked at Titan Tula. And again, I just wanted to show some of those because I think it's good to provide context. When you have a kingdom-wide event and players are afraid to show up to the event, not only to get free rewards, even though they could, and then the next level is you have people show up at the event, but they are coming shielded, right? That is a bad sign, in my opinion, for the health and the morale of your kingdom, right? It shows that people are on guard. They do not want to come and get looted or get attacked. And I just think that it's just very aggressive, right? It's very hostile to be in a kingdom like that. And this is one of the reasons why during the event SY came out publicly in World Chat and Kingdom Chat, and we told people, look, we're not going to attack anyone at Titan Tula. We're going to respect everyone who's showing up, right? It's a kingdom-wide event for everyone. Everyone should have the opportunity to benefit. Now, sure, you can make the argument that maybe the closest positions, the first 2 or 3 rings around Titan Tula, sure, maybe could be reserved for some of the top players. But honestly, even if it's first come, first serve, it's not really the end of the world. I do understand that the closer you are, right, the more hits you can get in overall. And sure, some of the top players might prefer that. So there's little restrictions. I don't want to say restrictions, but there's guidelines you can set for things like that. If you were to put together a governing body, right, that is able to talk about those things and set the expectations, right, for the alliances. So again, this is something that, right, can be done over time. But it was just the fact that it was so hostile already from the beginning that, in my opinion, was just another red flag. So after the council was formed, right, we started talking about again about territory distribution, right? So we had asked LOE and Rano, hey, can you guys come up with something? Can you provide a layout to us and let us know kind of how you guys want to operate in the kingdom? So about a day later, they came back and, we said, look, we'd love to have a discussion amongst the other top alliances. We obviously want to try and keep the server alive and retain as many active players as possible. And so they came back with a suggestion, and the suggestion basically, in short, was they just kind of keep the top half, and then the bottom half is just split between green and blue. Now, after they sent this, and there's other finer points as well, but after they sent this, right, we said, oh, this is awesome, thank you so much for providing, and now people can provide a discussion and feedback on it, and some of the alliances did. And then I just chimed in. I said, look, thanks so much. I'll take a look at it in detail. I'll talk with my team. I'll see if they want to. I'll see if we can write up a suggested proposal as well from our end. And then also I had asked if BM and at the time Jinshi, who was the rep there, or still is, right, if he wants to write up a proposal or a suggestion as well. And so there was a little bit of discussion there. And then at the time, Kill Event was coming up, right, which is where we're at now. And Kill Event coming up essentially was one of those things where we did not have, there wasn't a lot of preparation, right, because it just wasn't something that anyone had pointed out at the time, right? Ranu had mentioned it first. I was actually sitting in the chat for a while, hours, like right after it popped up on the calendar, waiting for someone to mention it, and then a couple hours later Ranu did, and then we started talking about it shortly after. And my proposal that I put, because the thing about Kill Event that you have to understand, and I'll probably make a separate video on this, but in short, most new players to Kingdom Builders do not know what a Kill Event is. So that is the perspective that as leaders, we should be approaching how we are going to set Kill Event guidelines from. Not from, on the other side of the fence, from the position of I'm the number 1, number 2, number 3, or top alliance, and I'm just going to do something that benefits my alliance, my players, and possibly my faction, right, secondly. And so, I wrote up this speech, and, Aurelius 2K, who's the ELIT, the Elite R5, R6, right, she had agreed. There was some of the green, the MER R6 there had agreed, and I think there was another. I don't know if it was Jinshi or one of the other blue R5s that was in there that had commented and more or less agreed as well. And as far as with the reasoning I provided for what we were going to do, right? I didn't make a decision for the group. What I did is I came out and said that, look, this is what SY is going to do, and what we decided was that we were going to say that anyone that is not in an alliance, right? So people that are allianceless can be attacked. Anyone that is red or blue that is on green territory can be attacked. Anyone that is outside of that cannot, right? So what that means is that, if we go onto red or blue territory, we would only attack players that are not in alliances, right? If players are on green territory, right, we would only attack blue and red players, right? But we would try not to attack green, right? That was the recommendation for the mail that we sent. And from there were some people that chimed in. We even went as far, and to my knowledge, we were the only alliance who came out in World Chat and Kingdom Chat and told players, like, look, this is what SY is going to do. We gave people like a couple hours. I think it was about a 3 or 4 hour warning, and we sent our message out, a little promo message out a couple times where we told people, like, look, this is what SY is going to do for the kill event. It lasts 2 days, and right, we wanted to let everyone know publicly, right? I thought that was a good professional courtesy that we extended to everyone, and we posted it a couple times. And on the other end, though, LOE, and I don't know any other red alliances or if there was any other blue or green alliances that did this. I can only speak for the few that I know. But LOE decided they're just going to do free-for-all, right? That was what Ranu said for his group. And the thing I want to point out here is that, there's really not a good or bad decision, because any decision you make is going to come with its own set of consequences or results, right? After effects. The reason we chose number 2, like I was saying, is because most players do not know about Kill Event, right? Not every player on a server is an experienced gamer that has played Kingdom Builders before, where the asterisk here, where they have kill events, right? For myself, I know what a kill event is. Other players know what kill events are, but that is not the majority. That is the minority. Right, and there has to be this clear distinction between what's the want and what's the need, right? In LOE's case, the want was, we want to just go hard, go ham, we want to attack anyone and everyone, we want it to be a free-for-all. And keep in mind, right, if you look, and let me give some additional context here, if you look at the leaderboards, right, for the rankings, and you look at let's just look at, let's start with strongest troop power, right? So let's just start with strongest troop power. So let's look at all the LOEs, right, that are like in, let's just say like top 50, right? Or maybe top 30, right? So you have what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, let's see, 10, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15, let's see here. 15, let's go to 50. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, so you have 19, 51, 20, right? So you have 20 players in the top 51, right? That means almost half of the 40% of the top 51 players are in one alliance, right? That have the strongest troop power, right? And when we go to Lord power, right, this might be a little different, right? You have what, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's see, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Let's see here. 20. Okay, yeah, so same thing, almost same thing. 21 out of 51, right? So about the same that you have for Lord power and strongest true power, right? So again, right, and even if you just look at the top 10, right, you have 6 or 7 players that are just in the top 10 that are in LOE, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, right, doing free-for-all completely favors LOE because they arguably have, more of the top strongest players. So there's less resistance, right? Less challenging that you can do in one-on-one PvP fights. In short, that was the decision. The kind of nail in the coffin, I think, and this kind of leads more into the falling of the server, is that you had a lot of players in the beginning, and this is like the current state of affairs, I'll tell you. So most of green, most of blue, and at least 2 alliances in red that I know of. One of them is in the top 3. The other one is outside of the top 3. Right? Just did not really agree with kind of LOE's, what seemed to be bullying tactics, right, that they were applying on the server. Now, let me preface with, again, players and alliances can run servers however they want. Right, that's the great thing about getting into a server. You can manage, you can make a choice and a decision however you want. But again, some people will agree, some people will not agree. And this is just one of those cases where I just don't really agree with the way that they went about deciding and kind of dictating the server to a degree. But again, it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that's the choice they made, right? And so, because these things happened, right, there really wasn't a concern for the majority of players on the server. It was more of like, what can I get for my alliance, and my players, so to speak. And that really seems like the perspective that was most likely taken. The the hump that, or the thing that broke the camel's back for me was, and again, this was while I was talking with some other players today, right? I was drafting up our suggestion, and then again, what broke the camel's back for me is that this is what happened. So let me switch screens here. So, and this just happened a little while ago, and the thing that gets me, and sorry, and this was our level 4 city that we had, that SY had, and excuse me, and from that, right, you can see here that there's 5 alliances here in the event you can't tell, right? And this is kind of on our district territory, which again, you can see here or from where I just showed you, was that level 4 red city that was in the bottom left corner. And there was 5 alliances here from red. There was Elite, SPA, RUF, REM, and then some players from LOE. The one you can see here in the picture is Ranu. I don't know if there was some other players. Some people told me that there were some others that showed up, but this is the only one that I actually saw. Right, and so they're attacking the city. You can see here in another picture, as we zoom up, right, you'll see some other players that came in and were attacking. And we did have some, I think we had about half garrisons in here at the time when we caught wind of it. But I want to point out that by seeing this, right, this had to be something that was coordinated, right? I want to preface that as well. Because when you have 5 members from 5 alliances that all join in at a single time, this either means that they were discussing this prior to the council being formed, or it happened after the council being formed, which means that the entire efforts of the council were arguably undermined, or just not really, they didn't really go into it, right, with honest intentions. Let me just say that. And again, this is my opinion based on the timeline of events. So anyways, this happened. And I think this definitely was the straw. But the great thing about all this is that I am so excited that this happened, because it shows kind of the true colors, right, of what players can expect in the server, so people can get out of Dodge early without over-investing more of their time or their money for the players that want to. If they just don't want to play in this kind of a server with the way that it's playing out, right, they have the option now in the event that they want to. And I think for myself, and I'm sure probably for some of our SY members and some other players as well, that is what we're going to be doing. And again, man, I wish Server 6 the best. Like I said, man, I thought Server 6 had so much opportunity, so much potential in the kingdom, and I just feel bad that it was just kind of squandered overall. And anyways, guys, like I said, so this kind of rounds it out to where I'm at now at the end of the video. And so again, I will leave everyone with, yes, for those wondering, we are going to be doing a new restart project. And the aim right now is going to be for server 8, maybe server 9, but right now it's for server 8. For anyone that is interested, if you want to join with us, we have a fantastic plan that we have for server 8, which we think can do really good on just improvements in kind of combating the lawlessness that a lot of the servers have been experiencing so far. And again, we have that plan kind of laid out on our Discord server for people that are interested in joining, if you want to be a part of our server 8 project. Again, I'll have a link to that. I'll actually have that link at the top of the description below the video. So again, anyone who's interested, you guys are more than welcome to join the server. If you want to add me or message me directly to get an invite, you're more than welcome to as well. We will probably be looking for some alliance leaders and officers and just other positions as well, right? We're really looking to make, I think, a great developmental server that has a lot of fun, organized fighting, and just gives everyone an opportunity, I think, to develop overall, among other things. And again, I'll make a separate video about that, but just wanted to throw that in here at the end. So again, right, I want to say, and also lastly, I want to give a big shout out to SY, to Syndicate, to SY2. I want to give a big shout out to BM, to MER, right, to all the blue and the red alliances that helped out SY, that we came to help out. Man, Server 6 was such a blast, was so much fun. It was a great learning experience, right? I want to give a couple individual shout outs too as well, right, to some of the players that, at least in my opinion, right, were always extremely involved. And let me see here. Sorry, I got to switch to green, right? So Sakya, Gibbles and Bits, Raids, Modi, though I think he's kind of AFK right now. Let's see, who else? Rain, Prisa, Metis, Kenny Medina, Hugsy, Bazu Yeoman, Mustache, Moonspell, Huheme. I butchered that, I'm sure. King Black Thunder, Trinica, Man Nefertiti. I mean, just, right, I don't want the video to go on too much longer, but I definitely wanted to at least give a little bit of a shout out to some players who I know have just put in, right, a lot of time into the game, not only helping me with managing, with messaging players, which is being good support, right, for our members and for the team, man. Again, I can't say enough, right? The players are really what makes an alliance, and the players who are willing to volunteer their time to do more than just play on a management and a staffing level is that much more, right? It helps kind of take the load off anyone who's leading an alliance, and just helps you out in multiple areas. And I can't say enough about the team that we had in SY. It was absolutely fantastic. And again, man, we'll catch you next time. Take care.